Sit, please. Sit.
Already, I'm gonna make two. I thought you said sit, please.
Okay. All right. Hey, homework due tomorrow. Fixes next couple days, but late work has to be in by tomorrow. Because if you don't have a score, I can't help you. But if you already have a score, then there's no worries. You can always make fixes.
I'm confused. Come look at this.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's talk about your practice guide. Okay, all right. So for your practice guide here, we did 1 through 4 yesterday. Okay, that was the first 4 problems.
We did 1 through 7.
1 through 7. Okay. So
Wait, what?
Tuesday. All right. Oh yeah, because I forgot.
You know tomorrow Friday?
Okay, so Tuesday we went through here. Today we're picking up right from here and going on. Okay, the goal is to get through the last couple of questions on this thing today. Make sure you're comfortable with whatever I could throw there, give you some hints and tips, what I might place on there. Okay, so first one here, number 8, I guess today, is to plug in the 2 plus h into this. This is my function, and we're going to plug it in. Okay, so we're going to rename this. So we're going to plug the 2 plus h in. So here's what we have: 2 plus h squared plus 2 plus h plus 3. So the function you're going to be plugging into will be provided to you. And what they want you to plug in and simplify is there. So I'm doing part 1 here. This is problem number 8. Okay, so I'm plugging this in. What I'd like you to do is actually simplify this whole thing out. So you have to FOIL, distribute, add like terms. Don't just write that, actually go further. So that means if I actually wrote 2 parentheses out and FOIL this together, I'm going to get 4 plus 2h plus 2h plus h squared. That's FOILing that first part out, first item last. The second part I'm going to have is 4 plus 2h. And then I have that plus 3.
So what's 6 H's, 8 plus 6, oh god.
Yeah, so then you're going to add like terms. It doesn't matter the order you write it, because I'm not asking you to put it in descending order or anything, but just simplify it down to where you have like terms and you can minus. So what is that? 8 squared plus
6h plus 11.
6h
Is that
plus
right?
11.
8 squared, is
Okay.
that right? I don't know if that's right.
That's not
Figure it out.
okay. All right. Questions about how I did the first part. Okay. Second part. You just plug a 2 in. So that second. So what is this? Number 9. You're gonna find what the value is if you just plug in just 2.
Just 2.
Just 2 into the original problem, not the one you just found, but the original problem.
Yes.
So every problem there is a start over. Okay, so I'm expecting number 9 should be a digit, a simple number.
17. 11.
Good. Okay. All right. Now,
You guys are being dumb.
Oh god.
10. 10 is now you have to compare them.
Oh.
So now you're taking this object, the one you found
That would
earlier,
just be h squared plus 6h.
this one, and you're going to subtract. You're going to subtract 6h plus 11.
H squared plus 6, right?
And now you're going to subtract the part you found in step 2. Does that make sense what you're doing on that next one? Yeah. You'll have to distribute the negative sign and actually add like
Distribute.
If you just subtract 11.
H squared.
subtracting the 11.
Yeah, I was like, how do you distribute
Okay.
them?
Okay, let's go to number 11.
Are you sure that's an 11?
No.
Yes.
Not for number
2 squared,
not number
4.
9.
Yeah, it is.
2 squared plus
4 plus 3.
Oh, I thought we were plugging in 4. Never mind.
Oh my god.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I thought I was plugging in 4. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're good. Just
Where did I get 4
Jaden, what is it?
I was,
2 times 2
You
plus
know what?
3? That's weird.
Yes.
That's what I wanted.
I was collecting.
That's exactly what your head was doing. You were doing the math.
Alright.
Plug in 2.
Just go with it. All right. Hey, moving on.
Number 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
11.
Can I answer it?
This is the good milk.
They're very much like
That's what I
yeah,
thought, yeah.
a little different. Can I expect that?
Okay.
They're like, they have a hole in them, so they're different.
Okay. Second part.
Oh my god.
Okay, all right, I guess the second question today. They're going to provide you a graph. I'm going to just pull one, direct that in your book like normal. I'll ask you to do a series of items to it. So like, it'll be, find if it has an inverse, see if it's, symmetrical, or do some type of transformation to it like I have here. It'll be some series of questions. It could ask you, what's the domain of this thing? What's the range of it? And I want it in the right form. We talked about that. That was one of the first things we talked about in here. But for this one, I just picked these objects. Okay? Does this thing have an inverse?
No.
Why?
Because it's a horizontal line test.
Line and it hits
Good,
like
yeah.
17 and 3/4.
I think it's
Good.
horizontal. Is it horizontal?
Yeah, horizontal line test. It failed it. No inverse. Second part, is it even, odd, or symmetrical?
Odd.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, 4, even.
Not.
I don't know.
Not symmetrical. It kind of looks like it would be, but they didn't finish it. The way that it needs to be like even or odd
Is it double?
is like, yeah, if it was doing something like this on both sides.
Can you show me what an even and an odd would look like?
Yes, can you
So
please do that?
this is even.
Okay.
Odd would be doing something like this.
Oh, like it would.
It would be
Okay, okay.
that the answers on this side are completely opposite of this side. Like they're opposite corners.
That's odd.
That's
That's
odd.
kind of
Okay?
odd.
Okay.
Okay,
I
a
get
little
it.
odd.
Then neither would do different things across the y-axis. Okay, so if you want to see another odd other than that one, I always use that as default. Here's another odd.
Whoa.
That's odd. It's got just opposite things happening, but it's going through the origin. That's how I know.
Find the
Okay.
intercepts for the following.
Moving on.
On the intercept, oh my
Okay.
god.
Yep. So now the second part.
Wait, so is it odd?
So
How is the back picture? No, it's not. It's not.
okay.
Oh.
Third part here. This is 13, right? You have to find the intercepts if we're to do a transformation. You can actually just draw on the graph I provide you. The graph I'm going to have will have enough space that you can actually do the stuff to
Is
it.
this one odd?
This one probably, we're going to the left,
No.
or sorry, the right,
No.
and then it's going up. So you're not going to have enough space, but I will provide you one that actually has all the grid, because I just cut this one off. I just took a
So we just plug
screenshot.
in 0.
So what we're going to do here is just figure out where these things are moving. So this thing is going to the right 4 spots, and it's going up 2. And just move every dot you have to those spots. So what I mean by dots, I'm using like where it stops and starts. Like these spots here, I'm just gonna move those dots and try to recreate the drawing where it's going. So each dot is moving over 4, and this one's going over 4. So like I'm moving all of these dots the correct way. So they're going all over 4, right? And then,
All the
then it will move up 2. Now, what I would probably recommend, if you don't have enough space for that, just draw like a mock picture off to the side. So, because it doesn't matter. I will give you a graph. You can actually make the transformation happen.
So
Because I cut this one off. I tried to draw it as small as
So
possible.
since you cut it off, you're gonna give us the intercept?
So, I'll at least get you a couple.
Intercepts like the x-intercept?
Yeah, I want to know if it hits the axis, and you can guess me. It's between this number and this number.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
Yes,
We're
it
good.
does. It's like negative point.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3,
Mine
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mine doesn't.
1, 2,
Mine hits
Mine's
someone.
at 1.
Okay, here we go. This dot that was here is going over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going up 2. So here's the first dot.
Oh, shoot.
Second dot was at 0, 0, it's going over 4, up 2. This dot was at -2, -4. It's going over 4 and up 2. And the last dot is going,
Whoa, hold up. You need to be on the other side of the y-axis for the first stop.
which one?
No, it's not because
Is
those
it
are,
not?
No, because those are negatives.
Oh,
It's a
you didn't go
0.5.
by, you went by 2. Why'd you just choose spaces for 1?
What is your problem?
Are you kidding me? Do I actually have to change mine? Can I keep it?
This looks nothing
Alright, here we go. -4,
Yeah, because see, this is
-1,
3 to -2.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh.
up
Those are
2.
by 0.5.
When we did, oh, this would be -2, this would be -1, this would be, you know.
Oh yeah,
We went over it actually.
What is that?
We went over 2.
So what's the answer?
Alright, here's what we have. Okay?
It's a reduction.
What I'm looking for
I'm not-
is, on this one, it's not going to be exact. I'm looking for where did it hit. You can kind of guesstimate where those spots are. Tell me a decimal in between. Like
So
roughly.
3.2.
1.2.
There you go.
2.2.
There you go. 4.7?
4.76.
Do I really have to rewrite that graph?
Definitely 7.6. I don't
What?
know if you use that.
Why would you make it like that? That's just really stupid.
I was trying to pick a good one.
Don't do that on the test. If you do that on the test, I'm gonna like make you give me. That's enough.
About a half. It's about a half. They give a full.
Don't waste my time.
No wonder we didn't have enough for that. They're like,
I found that in the book. I'm like, yep, that's the one I'm picking.
That's boring.
Because everyone's gonna complain.
You know you didn't.
I just want you to know that doesn't at all.
I definitely picked that
No,
one.
just you did not realize it.
Dude,
I
what?
did.
Four. How am I gonna get the points for that one if it's a
Just show it for a while. What?
paper? So
You literally.
Okay.
what side? There's not room. I'll have to put 2 dots very close to each other.
Alright,
So that's
but I will, on the graph I provide you will have like
I
almost.
just did what you did.
almost
You
enough.
had arrows.
So, alright, here we go. Okay,
You just.
okay. Alright, number 14.
Space.
14, 15. You have to use logarithms to solve. I do want the decimal, 4 decimal places for these. You have to show what you're typing in, not just the final answer, so I can actually see it. So like on this one, it doesn't matter which one we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna take the take the log of both sides. Take the log of the 2. Now again, the reason I'm taking the log is because I don't have an E on this problem, so I'm not taking a natural log. Once I have this, you have to know your properties. The X can drop down, and yes, you do need to know your properties, what things cancel, what you can do with properties. Now that I drop the X out front, the last step you can do
Please.
is divide that log 17 over and actually solve. Okay, and make sure that I want the decimal of what you're typing in. So your X is going to be log 2
Over log
divided by log 17. And type that in, figure out the number. I want to know the decimal. 4 or 5 decimal places.
4 or 5.
.24465.
24465.
24465. 24465. That was really obnoxious. Yeah. It was really obnoxious and I kind of wanted. I kind of wanted to punch you.
I kind of heard it.
I don't care.
That's 1, so it's 2.2x equals 7, the ln of 7 halves.
I would say, sorry, that's really unfortunate. In that exact way.
Just there's the characteristics that they chose the
Which one last year? I basically remember you telling me that decimals on each side.
Why did they spell
Let's contradict it.
All right. Okay, 4 or 5 decimal places. Okay. Now, hey, on the second one, on number 15, my hint for you: divide the 5 over first. Don't wait. Divide the 5 over first, get a decimal. Then, once you divide that over, then you can take the natural log of both sides. I know you're going to take a natural log of a decimal, but it's fine. You'll do the same thing where you'll solve. Okay, are we good with 15?
After I walk the dog.
Okay, last problem today. Last problem.
That's starting to go
Wow.
I'll get some questions you guys have after. Okay, number 16. This is probably what your graph will look like. It'll have about 12 spaces. You'll have enough spots for number, was that number 11 and 10 up above? 11 through 12, 13. I'll have graph that goes up to 12. All right. Now,
Are you gonna do sine or cosine, not tangent?
it'll be one of them. But it'll be right or left, it'll be up or down. Now, here's the good news. I did provide you a graph, and I know it seems a little weird. The reason I gave you a graph, you can, well, yeah, but you can actually label that however you want. That way you kind of know where to start, you know how to label stuff. You don't always have to go by ones, you can go by whatever you need. But I want you to label what I want you to go by.
Hardest problem on the test.
I would say yeah.
I feel like
You should just say, for all of these equations, like those are going to be on the test.
That was, yeah, if it's printed there, that's basically exactly the directions to look at, so that's what I use.
So, and otherwise,
Do you have to remember what I
Yeah.
so like just A1 left that memorized?
Yeah,
which
which I
is the
did.
same one as the
Oh.
How do we know which one?
How do I do this?
Okay, all right, hey, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, on this one, it looks like we're shifting right and left. This one is definitely going to the left, a certain number of spaces. We are affecting the period or frequency. We are affecting the amplitude.
This says everything, doesn't it?
Yep, and this one is definitely being shifted up 8 spots. Now, I know when most people look at it, you're like, it's not going up. It is going up 8. Because this 8, if I remove it to the back where it normally would sit, would be a positive 8. The negative sign here is going to flip the graph over. So instead of going like a normal sine graph does something like
Normal
this.
sign graph looks like.
Normal sine graph looks like that, looks like an S shape. The negative sign will just basically flip it over. So wherever we're going to move this thing, it'll be the same graph, it'll just look like this now. Just because the negative
Why
sign's
did
out
you write
front.
left right there?
We're moving it
We're
left.
moving left for sure. They're adding a
We're moving
number.
over by
It's definitely being shifted to the left, a
by
certain number.
one slice.
This thing, why I gave you a graph, you can type in
Because of the
the
plus.
numbers in your calculator and give the decimals form of it. You don't have to. Some people just relabel things that you want. But I try to give you a graph where you at least have a little bit of structure. If you don't want to use that, it won't hurt my feelings. You could draw a graph off to the side. Some people like to see it on a graph that looks more clean. They can get the numbers exactly like 4 or 5 above. Everything's like marked out with lines. It's easy to look at.
Can you do us a favor and write down what the original sine graph and cosine?
I feel like it's kinda far, Like I have coupons and everything, but I feel like I should probably.
Why?
You gotta know this is available.
I don't know. Can you write it down?
Sign
We're gonna go to Village. Like I'm actually gonna get like sweatshirts shirts with like
Wait,
Village.
are we gonna put the steps of which ones we
And
do
then I'm gonna
first?
go
Like,
see if I have
move
like
up,
any
move
of them
left.
coming.
All of the steps of transition? Oh, like which one
Yeah,
we go
well,
first?
if you follow my rules that I do right now, it'll lead you right here.
Yeah.
We're learning them. Are you gonna write on the board?
You're not
No,
gonna.
I won't have those on the board.
Why not?
Can we use our property sheet?
No,
Why?
because there's nothing you have on the property sheet that you can do.
We can write on
So,
it.
alright, sine normally looks like this. So this is 2 pi, pi over 2, 3
I'm not gonna write on mine.
pi over 2. Alright, so this is what the sine graph normally looks like.
She's like, oh, you want to check the notes? Yeah, we watched the.
How do I know that is the sign graph?
That's what I'm telling you.
It looks
I
like
told her, I was
this.
like, you can.
No, but how am I supposed to
No, I'm
remember
good.
the
No,
sign
no,
graph?
no.
looks
She
like?
got
I don't know, we've done it
James
for
like, I'll
3
share it with you.
years.
It's
You
good.
probably have
We're
some.
doing it for 2.
We
did it
like,
for
I
one.
Water. I remember this thing called the summer. Don't like
Alright.
bust my brain out.
It's just like lately we've been.
Cosine, same exact idea.
Is it the same period length?
Yep.
Okay.
I can remember that.
There's
But then
cosine.
tangent.
Well, why is that one do that?
Cosine starts at 1, not at 0.
Yeah, cosine's really different.
And
There's no way.
tangent,
I know that one's weird. I got that one.
Yeah, I got the
Jared,
tangent.
I don't know tangent, I just know
It's pi. No, what?
Yeah, pi is a total.
Oh, you're right.
You are.
I actually know that one. The other cosine
It's
sine.
where you say hi.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
I feel like I should write these down. I had them written down.
Why would writing them down
okay,
now?
alright, there's your graphs. Okay, now, we're gonna mess with this one, and we're gonna try to finish this up here. Okay. Now, okay, we're gonna shift it right and left. Okay, we're gonna shift it right and left. We're going to then mess with the amplitude, flip it over, and then shift it up. One of the questions I had, what's the order of transformations that we have? So, just so I don't write them in the wrong order, I always have them bookmarked and I'll have them up here right now.
Will you put them up on the board tomorrow?
No?
No.
Man, you have to look them up in the book though. How's that fair to make us?
No, I really don't.
We're the calculus students.
You want me to just write them up by
No.
Mr. Ward
has already taken calculus.
You have Mr. Ward, I'll show you my memory.
What?
You don't need the books.
Alright, so,
Mr. Ward has already taken.
Don't do that.
shift for horizontal, then it's going to be a stretch or grow, stretch or a shrink. Then number 3 is gonna be the actual, reflection. And number 4 is gonna be the, shift up or down.
Wait, I can't.
So that's your order that we go in. That's typically how I always think of it. Now I'm not using the exact words the books always have.
SSRS. That'll be easy.
That's your
Yeah, but
order.
you have to remember which
I'm
S
just
is
kidding. First you gotta shift, then you gotta stretch, then you gotta reflection while you're stretching.
You gotta
Then you gotta
reflect.
shift again.
In your personal narrative, you must reflect. That's what Mrs. Newberger said.
It's
So
scriptively
of course,
right.
because Mrs. Newberger might have the type at number 3, that would be the next step.
You should ascribe.
Okay. All right. So let's walk through this. This problem is not easy because of what we have to do to it. At the very end here today, if you do not want the graph here, if you don't want that, I will get rid of it. I'll take it off and I'll just leave a blank paper.
Usually one of these custom.
You just draw the thing like that. Some people like to do that. Some people like to do grid because you can make it very symmetrical looking because you know where to start and stop at. So,
I prefer a rough sketch. I feel like you're more likely to get points.
all right. Hey, shifting right and left.
Oh, very good.
Mr. Ward,
No, they're
Rough
definitely.
sketch, but that's 20.
So, okay.
They're definitely
Because then
not.
it's hard to grade.
Are they sock shoes? Then why are you wearing socks? As his contract is not allowed to go socks.
Pat, you can't go sockless in this contract.
All right. All right. So, 2x plus pi. I said equal to 0. If I solve for x,
And then copy the graph down.
red marker is frustrating.
What?
Okay, so I move the pi over, divide by 2. That, when I divide, that's my starting point. So I'm going to start at negative pi over 2.
Wait, what is this? What are
So-
these steps called real quick?
This is, I'm finding where my starting point is. and my graph.
Transition.
Order of transformation.
Yeah, this is the transformations, if you want to know what I'm doing here.
Isn't it in your contract that your fish has to be clean?
That you what?
So,
I would have a business.
okay, so we move it over. What we have here, now, I don't know how you want to label. I'm just going to put this back here as this is where my negative pi over 2 is. That's my starting point. It really doesn't matter as long as you get all the hash marks you need out of that thing. Now, for mine, so it was, I just put it random. You can throw it wherever, yeah, that was over 5. I just put it randomly. But I labeled my spot as negative pi over 2. So that's the start. Again, how I found that out, I set this equal to 0. That's how I'm shifting it left and right. To figure out the hash marks, that's going to take the normal period length, which is 2 pi, and dividing by this number. So if it normally goes up to 2 pi, and I divide by the number in front of x, it looks like I'm going up to pi. That'd be like the 4th hash mark, right? But the problem is, I'm not going out to pi all the way because I've shifted it right and left. So what we need to do is figure out where the new hash marks are. That's why it was important to know where the starting point is.
Why
So,
don't you put that hash mark at a random point?
because I'm gonna throw my other hash marks in there because it doesn't actually matter where you put it. Because I can relabel my graph any way I want, and it'll just make it easier to make sure that everything looks symmetrical.
I think you should get a generic, or not a graph.
Okay, that's fine.
Wait, why are you putting it?
Now, normally I hit pi, I divide that by 2, divide that by 2 again. All right, now why I did this? This is the part you needed to find.
Yes.
Pi over 4 is what we're jumping by. So, pi over 4 is the space from the first marker, like where you start, to the first marker, and then I got to go 4 hash marks across. So knowing that, this is what's going to happen. If I go over pi over 4, this will be negative pi over 4.
Like Josh did this
Because
with
I'm
the graph
adding it to it.
from
If I add it again, I'll be at 0. Add it again, I'll be at pi over 4. Add it again, I'll be at pi over 2.
How many are you gonna do?
I usually go wherever my starting point is, I always go 4 hash marks to the right of it.
How do you tell where you're starting?
Wait, I have a quick
Well, that's
Negative
Wait,
5.
I don't get it. How do you know that you started?
1 and 4 to the right. Yes.
How do you know that you started at negative?
He just puts on
Oh, the
random.
start right there.
Start right here. This is how I knew where I'm starting.
You use this in the parentheses,
Yeah.
and start.
Exactly.
And then you use that 2, you do take 2, divide by what's in front of the x.
And then that helps me figure out what my spacing is.
Alright. Amplitude 4, that's how tall.
Wait, what's your pi over
Plus-
4? Where is that at?
That, alright, so normally I go up to 2 pi, but I'm dividing by the number in front of x. So, so I divide by that, so this is pi. So that's where I'm gonna normally go out to normally. So I divide by 2, divide by 2 again. This is my spacing. So how I'm getting all those markers is, what I did is I took my starting point, which is
Put that
negative
like
pi over
2.5.
2. What?
Put that at like 2.5.
Yeah, I just put them random. I literally just threw them randomly up there and spaced them out. I went every 2.5. You can go every 4 for all I care. I just want to make it work, make it fit. Now, this graph is going to hit a height of 4 above and below.
That's how I feel about
That's my stretch. So I know I'm going to have to hit 4 above and below.
And then you have to
it. It just wrecks me.
Okay, so I'm hitting 4 above that and 4 below. And the big thing is I need to shift this thing up 8 from where I'm sitting. So shifting this thing up 8 means I'm up here. So this is where my first dot's gonna be, and every, wherever I put my hash marks at, this is where my graph is, and I'm going 4 above that and 4 below that.
I have a lot of stuff to do. What am I gonna do? Nothing. You can.
So I shifted up 8, clouds of 8. And my graph's upside down.
How do we know this on our rough mock picture?
I'll come. If you
How would we do that on our mock?
Just the graph wouldn't be there, so if I just get rid of the graph and you just see what I have drawn, and you have the labels, you're good.
Well, like, how do I know that it went up?
Knowing, labeling that this is 8, it's 8, noting that this is, negative pi over 4, 0, pi over 4, pi over 2. And then drawing it from here and labeling, if this is my graph.
Oh wait, it's
Because most people, when they draw this, and if I didn't give you graph paper, this is what you'd see. You'd see probably just this. So, you just see that. So you just have your graph, you tell me where the middle is, you tell me, and then tell me that this is 12, and this is 4, then I'm going 4 above, 4 below. Most people like that. Some people don't like the grid. Like I have the grid on mine, some people don't like that. And then my graph is negative, so I'm going to be going down, up, and down. That's what my graph looks like.
That was good.
Now, how I found those hash marks going across. So some people always want to know, they know how they found my starting point, but how did I find all those hash marks going across? Because all I do is I take my starting point, and my starting point is negative pi over 2, and I just keep adding what the spacing was. This is the spacing that I'm using. I'm adding a pi over 4, that's how I get to negative pi over 4. And when I add that again, so this is going to give me pi over 4.
At 8.
And if I add that again, that's going to give me 0. Then these are where my markers are going. That's how I know. Sure, you can do that.
Why would you do that?
Some people just like to type it in, they don't want to think about the numbers.
That honestly is so much better, because you can find out that negative pi or pi over 4.
Oh my lord.
Then you just add 0.785.
Okay, all right, I'll answer any questions that people have. So I know one of the questions I had earlier is where are those points at earlier?
Yeah.
This one, I'm going to leave that on the board for a little bit. You have the rest of class today to kind of work on this. You have homework due tomorrow, that's your page 42. Don't wait. Late work, if you have a missing score from you, is due by tomorrow. If you're going to make fixes, you always got the next couple days because that assignment fixes don't count against that. You already have score.
Did you get 46 or 2?
All right, hey, so to answer your question you guys had, where are those hats on
Did
that?
you
That was way too much for me. Shall we?
just remember
where the intersections were. We just kind of guesstimate.
How far can she go?
I thought you were gonna
Anything like
I wanted to start with
846.
Yeah, he's 1, 2, 3 panels and then done.
Okay, what if it was neither?
well, the thing is, if I don't.
Wait, Mr. Wood, I have a question. You said
You want it back just to check?
I got 50-50 from here on out.
Mr. Wood.
33, but okay.
Yeah, I remember that now.
You said I get
I just don't really know what I want to do. Hi. Good impressed.
This is the one, like, what I did when I set this up, is you did it with like the A terms, like they were really.
I hope he leaves on it.
Not today, Junior. Oh, you can't see it. You got it.
This,
Did it?
this, it's an exponential problem. So the idea is that you need to think about
Sneeze on the camera.
that the rate is the number above E,
Look.
right? If you're finding like, what you did by saying like just dividing the two numbers,
Be pretty.
you're doing a linear problem.
Oh,
Saying that the growth was 200% every time,
I've never used them. Okay.
but it's not. So the percent.
I need one in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's where you find the rate on the exponential problem. You have to solve for like the.
I know.
Problem.
Does that surprise you though?
So,
Yeah, well, I want to try this.
but it's based on this. So if you think your problem like this,
That's funny that she asked.
you're
Because I found that
So,
A, or the rate, is 0.20.
so this is that you're solving.
done it like 3
I don't know if these numbers were. This is,
I gotta like sneak up on this one.
this is like 2002, 2004.
You guys don't know how much mileage.
2008. Okay, so 2004. Here's the first one.
Guess who?
Got like what was 2004? Like 200,000.
Close. I kind of look like it.
It's close.
Okay. And you're gonna divide the other one, which was
It's like Joe when he was like, Joe, Monster or whatever. He was saying it really weird.
And the idea is that whatever you solve for the base, that's supposed to be 1 plus.
Up your miles to 7.
We are getting one
You
arrow.
started in 2004, or did it say you started in 2004? So yeah, so it'd be a 0.
Are you fucking? And then the other one. Tomorrow.
4, yeah.
So then I
That's
so then it's gonna be.
A and 4 is equal to these two
I
things
did it,
divided.
it's just not
Take the
fair.
4th rate,
I'm almost done.
and that number will be 1 plus whatever the rate is.
I didn't know. I'm so
Because
confused.
it's giving you like 100%.
She wants to
plus
talk
whatever
about
the
it.
rate
I just want to go to Pasta Bella, and I thought you wanted to like not do Pasta Bella. Like, no, you with Conchero.
Oh, no. No, we're going to That's awesome. I like it.
Stickers though.
I need to get gas.
Well, me too.
Not me.
Like, I
I never got my car.
No, so
No, I literally am
1 plus 0.2 is
So look, this is the number I got when I took
Actually, I said look at mine.
Can I text my mom?
I'm sure you can. It's mail.
What? I gotta talk to Mansville early.
I'm sure you have the ability to touch
Sydney, are you physically
that number you have there is equal to 1 plus R.
So do I have to subtract?
Subtract
Okay, here's my mom.
1
So this is all the things where I
Yeah, if that's the number.
He said, yeah.
Did he actually?
Let me double check what I have. 'Cause I might have done this problem with
Java
I got it. Yes.
all the time?
All the
I think I was
time.
using exponential.
Literally going there
So
after.
instead of using the 1 plus
She's
R, I
there
said
all
equal
the time.
to E.
Like, I didn't get coffee this morning, and I cried like 3 or 4
What
times.
page is that?
So, just 34. Not because of that.
That's an addiction. You
I
cried
didn't-
3 times because you didn't have coffee?
No, not because of that.
Oh, I was like, oh, is that
I literally said right.
Just the coffee, like, she's one of those. The coffee just numbs her to her feel.
No, I'm just saying that
what do you-
if I
That
had
doesn't
coffee
sound like drugs.
and iced latte with white chocolate and lemon working. It's literally so good. Don't, is it not? You even like it. I don't like it.
Nasty. So this is exponential, this is what you're ending
Yeah,
with.
I forget about it.
Take the natural log of all sides.
Have you ever had
Okay, I get one more chocolate. What?
Take the natural log of that number, and then I divide by 4.
You definitely just I actually like, I won't remember that.
Americano with caramel.
I still have this bump from when I got
That's what they have.
I might try that actually.
Quality sports. It could be
Look at this, I'm so athletic. This looks like an
I
athlete.
was out there.
Okay, so my question is,
I was afraid of it. And I laid down on it and my whole arm just like got huge. I was like allergic to the wood or something.
okay, go.
It was
Should I
awful.
shoot it in the
That was it.
I wonder if that's.
which number?
And 4.
That one's a tough one.
No one isn't.
They're all tough. You can't make it in there.
Okay, I'm about to go.
I don't think I can make it in there.
Bye.
Can I just leave it in?
I know.
Wait, what?
Oh, probably.
I was just trying to check the answer and it wasn't like this. Oh, that was actually close.
Yeah, give it back, give it back.
Okay, that was
But she was asking if she had a